emotion with that, not just an event. Does that make sense? So I want your sixth one. Why do I remember this? It should have some emotion in it. It shouldn't just be because it happened. That's not why you remember it. It's not just, you don't remember everything that happens in your life. So we need to have an emotion. For me, like I said, I remembered it because backpacking was really enjoyable and I was excited about it and I enjoyed and loved it. How's it going? Yes. You done? Are your characters done?
Yeah.
Are they? Are they in here? Are we done? Okay, let me check your turn. Great. All right. So, can I have you two go back to your desk, please? It's okay. We'll have a little bit more time to work on it after. We're just going to move on for now. So go ahead and close our folders, our journals. They're not folders, they're journals. And hands free, eyes up at me. Wow, that's the fastest it's ever been. That's awesome. Good job. So now I want to go through some different story elements. Okay, so we're going to have, these are the different pieces and parts that make up a story. So these are all things that we're going to have in our story. So every piece is important to complete the puzzle. That's why I have this puzzle right here, is because you're going to need each one of these pieces of the puzzle to make up the whole story. Because you want the story to flow together. You want it to be kind of like a movie reel. Just like we had the examples of these storyboards. If I would have taken out a whole section here, it wouldn't have flowed as a story, right? Or if I wouldn't have had a setting, but I don't have a setting, which is the time and location where a story takes place. If I didn't have the mountains to go backpacking in, or if I didn't have the time, May, it wouldn't really make sense, would it? It wouldn't tell you what kind of weather I needed to dress for. It wouldn't have told you where I was going. I could have just had a backpack and off I went. You would have no idea that I went backpacking in the mountains. So setting is really important. The characters. If we don't know that you're in the story and who's with you in the story, Chase, can I have you sit back down? Thank you. If you don't know who's in the story, you're not going to really know what the story is about. Chase, eyes up here. Then a problem. And not all of yours are going to have an actual problem. Mine didn't really have a problem, but I had a climax, which we're going to have a climax, and then the solution is the ending. So the problem is the main issue, struggle, or conflict that a main character is up against. Can someone tell me why you think a problem makes a good story? Does anybody have an idea? It happens a lot in movies. Andre?
Because maybe it gets the person to keep reading and find out the solution.
So why it says problem is because a lot of stories that we like to read, your books, the movies that we watch, the television shows, all end up having a problem or an issue. And that's what intrigues the reader or the watcher, and that's why they write stories like that. But we're writing a personal narrative, so that's a little bit different, where you're not necessarily going to have a problem, but we still want a climax. And that's what I was talking about with box number 5 right here, is we're going to talk about a climax, which is a turning point in your story. And for me, that was reaching the peak, or it might be when you fall off your bike and scratch your knee. That could be the turning point. That could be the main event. Does that make sense? Thumbs up on our chest if that makes sense. Yes, Tessa?
Having, like, when there's a problem, it also helps to have that because it gives more details.
It does give more details. Yep, and that's one thing we do want to make sure with all of these is that we add details. That's a great point, Tessa. So with our characters, we need details about what they look like. And what are some of the details that we figured out about our characters? There's 2 words that I'm looking for. We worked on organizing we had our character, and then we had them organize things about them in 2 columns. trying to remember what it was called. Rachel? Internal and external, yes. So that's how we are going to give details about our characters. And then setting, we're going to remember and draw our pictures of. And then the key events, the important events or actions that occur during the story. So that for me, that was gathering things up. I need to gather everything together in order to get everything ready to go backpacking. And the way the character solved the problem is the solution. So for us, the solution might just kind of be the ending, and we want to make sure that we talk about what we learned and what the process taught us, and the feelings that we had from it, and what the experience left you thinking or feeling. Okay? Is that clear? Thumbs up if that's clear on your chest. I keep doing this, sorry. Great. Okay, so now we're going to work on the story arc. Can everybody see from where they're at, or do we want to move back to the rug?
Back to the rug.
Okay, let's go back to the rug. We have to have our 4th grade bodies.
Yes, thank
No, we're all going to go back to the rug.
you.
Just like we learned in government, that the majority wins, and the majority vote on that. Okay, so we're going to work on story arc. Man, freeze. Was that a good transition or what? That was awesome. You guys were quiet. You didn't chatter. Just like Mr. Hanson talks about this morning. Can I have you not sit on that? Thank you. Just scoot it away from you. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Just like Mr. Hanson was talking about this morning. You guys, you're not supposed to chat with transitions, and you did it. You got up, walked over here, sat down, silent. I'm writing on the board and I turn around. It's quiet. That's awesome. That's a great 4th grade class. That was impressive. Okay, so we have story arc. So when we do story arc, we're going to do an arc. And then we're going to have the beginning. Different marker. So we're going to have the start here, or the beginning. So we have the start, and then we have the middle, and we're also going to call this the climax. Okay, and then we have the end, or what's another word for end that we just learned over here in our story elements for the end of a story? Lily? Solution. Yes, so solution. So these are some of the different components that we're going to have in our story. So we want to fill out this as we go. So I'm going to have a couple different parts of my story that I add. Here, I have the start. So I started, can someone tell me where I started? Where did we just talk about with this? Where did I start? I'll put this up so you guys can see it. Andrew.
You started when you were describing the characters and the flowers, and the background and everything.
Yeah, so I started over here. I started with the when, where, who, and why. So I'm going to write Nikki, and then I'll put Miss Witt, and then I'll add organizing. And packing. So this is our first event, so I'm going to put a 1 with it. Then we're going to go up here a little bit, because we're headed up and around the arc. So we came up here, next scene, first action. So what came next in this? Tessa?
You guys are where we were supposed to hike.
Yep, so we headed to hike. I'm going to just put trailhead. Okay. And then I'm going to put this away because we won't have this tomorrow or today when we do it, because we're going to make that tomorrow. So as a writer, I'm thinking, start at the trailhead. It's good. Head it up. So we head up the mountain on the trail, and then we get there, so we set up camp, and we eat dinner, and then go hiking, and this is day 2.
You didn't say go to bed.
You're right, and I didn't say wake up here. But we don't have to, as long as you understand it, I'll add it because that's a good point. But we don't have to add every little detail on this. This is kind of a guideline. Just like Chase was talking about, it's kind of the, what's the content? Can I have you guys poke out? Just like you guys have in the front of your binder, tells you exactly where to go and what page it's on. That's kind of what this does. It gives us a little outline, has us in the right direction. So we wake up, go hiking, and then we we'll have dinner. This is wake up, hiking, day 2 over here, and then have dinner, go to bed, have dinner, go to bed, and then we wake up, this is day 3, and then the climax. Does anybody remember what I said the climax was for my story? Andrew? The middle? It is the middle. Does anybody specifically remember from my story what it was? Piper?
Hiking up to the peak.
The peak, yep. Okay, and then afterwards, hiking down. And then the ending, I talked about how what to bring next time. Next time.
Miss Witt, you also said that you saw a bear on your way home. Going home.
Correct, yes. So I'll just draw a little paw. Okay, so I want most of this to be words. You could add some pictures after we're done with words, but this is going to be words, and then our storyboard is going to be pictures. Luke, do you have a question? Hand start us off.
How long did you stay?
How long did I say? We did 3 days. So we hiked it on day 1, stayed for day 2, and hiked out on day 3. Yes, Ava?
The only thing you had to eat was noodles?
I had a lot of, protein bars. A lot of protein bars and a little bit of oatmeal. But not a lot of, we didn't do any packaged food, which I would highly recommend that next time. I didn't feel very good. Yes, Tessa?
Did you like bring food for dinner?
It doesn't need to be heated up? Yes, that's why we brought the granola bars and the protein bars. Okay. Any questions about our arc? We can ask more questions about my experience. I'll come to one of your guys' lunches or recesses and you can ask the questions. But is there any questions about the format for story arc? No questions? Alright, let's do the same transition back to our desk and on a new page. Wait, when I say go, sorry. We're going to open up a new page and do this on our new page, our story arc. So we need what at the top? What should I put at the top if I'm going to my paper and writing this? Andre. Great. And then what should I put in the corner? Class?
Day.
The date. All right. Go. Okay, we have just about 10 minutes to work on this. So finish this up today, and then we'll work on our storyboards tomorrow.